National Office for Technology Acquisition and Promotion, NOTAP, Dr. Dan Asome Ibrahim. Always a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Nigeria.
We also have with us in the studio Director General, National Biotechnology Development Agency, Professor Abdullahi Mustafa. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Nigeria.
Well, we also have the studio co-founder and chief executive officer of the Ville Square, Obialinama Naobi. Madam, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, Nigeria.
Gentlemen and lady, it's a pleasure indeed to have you this morning for this conversation on science, technology, and innovation. Currently, the 5th edition of Technology Expo is taking place here in Abuja at the Eagle Square. And being the 5th edition, DG NOTAP, I'd like you to give us an idea of the impact of this Techno Expo, which has been there since 2016. What impact has it made? You are responsible for technology acquisition and promotion in Nigeria. So how has it been?
Thank you very much. Actually, what used to be before 2015 was individual organizations like NOTAP, like Raw Materials, like Biotech, used to come out with their own individual exhibitions. And when the Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbonai Onu, came on board, he felt there was need to synergize efforts and ensure that we have only one single technology exposition. So it started in 2015 or 16. So the idea is to bring to limelight the innovations, the inventions made by Nigerians from the research establishments, from the universities, polytechnics, and individuals, for Nigerians to see the ingenuity of Nigerians. It was also an opportunity for the private sector to come and see what products Nigerians have been able to come out with. The purpose of that is to bring them together to ensure that those products are now moved to the next level in terms of commercialization. So the exposition is intended to bring researchers, academia, the private sectors, and the industries together so that we see opportunities. You see, Kirian, what we realized based on our own operations in NOTAP, more than 90% of the technologies that power the Nigerian economy are imported. No nation that is aspiring to become economically independent will fold its arms and continue business as usual. Where are the sources of the technologies? Because they are product of research and development. Our Nigerian universities, our polytechnics, research establishments are expected to come out with innovation and inventions that should power the Nigerian economy, begin to substitute for the imported ones. So the idea is, if we must have to develop as a nation, we have to spend heavily on research and development. So right from the first one we had, up to this one, if you follow the exhibitions closely, you see there has been significant improvement, particularly in terms of content, the quality of the research outputs that are coming from the institutions. So it's an opportunity for Nigerians to see, particularly the private sectors, to see area where they could invest their money, we bring products and services, and reduce dependency on foreign goods and services. That is the essence of the technology exposition.
Okay, let me put you on hold for now. And it's quite interesting to note that the female gender actually breaking, the frontiers in innovation and technology. Some time ago on this program, we also featured a lady who won a ₦1 million prize, for her innovation in converting pure water sachet into bags and all sorts of wares and all that. Today we also have a female here on Good Morning Nigeria, co-founder, chief executive officer, Ville Square, Obialinama Naobi. I want to believe, I don't know if this is your first, second, third, fourth, or fifth, appearance at the expo. What's your experience like?
Thank you. This is our second participation in the expo. We were there in 2020. And it's been very interesting because when we came to the expo in 2020 last year, we came with a product that was at proof of concept stage. And what the expo did for us was that it brought us in contact with researchers from institutions around the country, and we were able to get direct feedback from the actual users of the product. Now, this is something that would have cost us a whole lot of money to go to every state of the federation, try to get an interdisciplinary committee to work on this. But being at the expo, we were able to meet the people who would use it. We were able to get a lot of feedback. I believe we got over 150 researchers to contribute in one way or the other to the final product that we've come up with this year. Now, the very interesting thing...
What products did you present at the exhibition?
Oh, we have a digital microscope. It's called the Volt Microscope.
Oh.
Yes, it's designed and manufactured here in Abuja, Nigeria. Materials sourced from around the country, so it's about 85% local content. And the idea is
Did you come with a sample? You didn't?
No, we didn't. But you had shown this earlier when the program started from the expo. We had shown this earlier. So, but what has happened this year is that being back, a lot of those same researchers from last year have come back to see the new and improved product. And they can tell us the difference. We're getting more feedback. So it's just been a very interesting, iterative process for us, and one that we are very grateful to be part of.
Is it in use in schools?
Yes, it is, actually. We are in about 15 tertiary institutions around the country. Again, being at the expo exposed us to this network of researchers. So as we iterate, we're able to send out to them. And because it was something they found very useful, we do get orders and then send it out. The other thing it has done for us being in this network is that when we ideated the product, we had an idea of what use it would be. But now having it in the hands of actual researchers means that they're able to tell us, oh, in our own institution, this is what we're doing with the product. You know, we get calls to say, guess what we did last week? We were able to do this. We were able to do like a time frame of samples, and the students who were teaching were able to see this across a number of hours, whatever number of hours T it was. So this has been very interesting. So even though a lot of this use the application of our product, we're not able to do it in our facilities, we know it is possible because we get these reports from around the country.
You know, Kieran asked the Director General here the impact this expo, you know, has been able to make. And that's why I'm focusing on you, because this is your second appearance and all that. So apart from the exposure to a number of researchers who have come to look at, you know, the value addition from last year to this year, what other value has this expo, you know, added to you as a person in terms of, you know, capacity building and, you know, the product itself?
So I would say getting the feedback from the researchers, because this is it's a part of the innovation process. You know, you come up with a product, you iterate, you get more feedback, you go to market, you come back with more information. But being able to get all these people in the room from across the country. So this is something that might have taken several months, perhaps up to a year to go to tertiary institutions, research institutions around the country, and we're able to do it in 5 days. I think it is remarkable. But also that exposure to the whole network has also been very impactful for us.
This is your product?
Yes, it is.
I would have loved you to show. I don't know, Kieran, you were at the expo.
Yeah,
yes, you saw this.
Yes, this is very, very significant, and you know, because it's locally made, it's more interesting because it's locally made. From what Lutazumi said earlier on, we had relied on importation of such products in the past. But if you look at it, you discover that, look, it's made in Nigeria, perhaps because of the, you know, there could be improvement anyway, you know, in terms of the general outlook of the product, you know, in terms of, you know, making it more beautiful, the finishing touches and all of that. But the most important thing is result. It's result-oriented. That is why schools are using it and they're having results. So that's why it is fully Nigerian made. I'll have to be happy about it.
I really would like to know what schools, are they being applied in public or private schools?
Both. So tertiary institutions
Well,
mostly.
school is cool. Otherwise, it's like
No,
just
no, no. We
Nigerian
really
school.
not want to know if the federal government or federal schools are also buying into this.
Actually, I saw the product day before, or yesterday or day before yesterday, and I was amazed. And it's much user friendly than the conventional
The conventional one.
microscope.
Oh, all right.
You can link it up with your telephone. You can link it up with your laptop,
Okay.
and you see microorganisms moving. You understand? So it's really an excellent product, and we want to promote it.
Let's turn to the Director General of Biotechnology Development Agency. Congratulations, because I'm sure you just assumed office some weeks or months ago.
Yeah, around 4 months ago.
4 months ago.
Yes, please.
All right. Biotechnology is a branch of science which we have found so difficult in this part of the world to appreciate. The Biotechnology Agency was established with the intention of ensuring that it makes a contribution to agricultural development in this country. And I want to start by, first of all, letting us know, since you assumed office, the impact of biotech in national development with respect to agriculture. Since you assumed office, we'll take it from there.
Okay, thank you very much. I think biotechnology is beyond agriculture. Biotechnology is everything, inclusive environment, agriculture that we mentioned, and medicine, most especially medicine now that we are clamoring for so many things in the area of medicine. And then industry as well. So that is the four pillars that make the biotechnology a pillar of development of any nation. And of course, as I assume office now, what I focus on is that medicine and agriculture. So in the aspect of medicine, what I focus on, His Excellency, the Minister of Science and Technology, has brought us a lot of collaborators. What we need in Nigeria is developing our own indigenous technology, where you can see the repercussion of this lack of technology when the COVID-19 came in. People are clamoring for vaccine, and vaccine are developed, but in those countries that develop the vaccine, they are the ones that are benefiting from it first. So we are at the mercy of them. Only what they gave us is what we can have. So we have bent into it, and we have already formed research groups, and the collaborators, I think even next tomorrow, we are going to have a Zoom meeting with them with the intention of bringing them so that we can see how we can domesticate the technology of having vaccine in our country. That is one aspect. Also, we have malaria. Malaria is something that bedevils African countries, most especially Nigeria. And in this, also, we are the people that can develop the vaccine against malaria. Nobody will come and do it for you. So that is what I'm focused on also, to see that I can bring up researchers from around the country to come up and team up so that we can develop the vaccine against malaria, and we can control the malaria. Some countries have already done that. I think some countries like Cuba, Malaysia, and some other countries that were having malaria before. And as well, when you talk about agriculture, agriculture is everything. Now the country is turning into agricultural output for the development of the economy. We are into agriculture, and deeply we're into that. When the Vice President came in to our stand, he observed the hydroponic system where we develop the feed for animal, and that also is a technology that not only in the table we are going to leave it in the shelf. No, we brought it out so that we get people to key in, and we are happy that the Vice President have shown interest in this technology where we can produce the feed for animal. And this feed for animal, it has so many advantages. One, it will stop the migration of cattle rearers from north to south, where if we have a cattle settlement that is ranching, the feed for animal can be, this hydroponic system can be used to give the animal the required feed that they need for fattening and for milk production. As well, we are into research on grain, that is the foodstuff and other grains that the country is in need. For example, recently, in collaboration with some other agencies, we have released the biotechnology cotton, and we know in this country the importance of cotton. Before, we were having a number of industries, but due to the lack of raw material, the industries have collapsed and they have closed. And you see, this one has impacted a lot on the economy. So we have brought back the cotton. So the cotton is released in the market, and people are buying it and people are keen into it. And our mission is to see that we have bring back the cotton ginnery industry. Apart from that, we have released a cowpea. And that cowpea that has been released, you know, cowpea, we know it locally by beans in Nigeria. So that one has been released, and that also contribute to the economy of the country. We are working on soybean. Soybean has a lot of value chain, and that one too, if it is provided in the country, it will impact a lot on the economy of the country. So these are a few things that I will...
Now, I'm interested in the cotton aspect of it, because in the past, many farmers have argued that biotech in this cotton will not go well for the country because of certain implications of application of biotechnology on cotton. We also know that Burkina Faso now appears to be the largest producer of cotton in Africa, and is biotech driven. So are you having issues with this?
No, to be honest with you, all we need to do is to make people understand that there is no such problem. There is no research finding that says that when you use biotechnology, cotton has a problem. And we have African Open Forum for Agriculture that is into awareness campaign to tell people that this cotton, when it is released, when people use it, it doesn't have any problem at all. There is no such record that it has a problem in any ramification. So I think there is nothing people should fear about this cotton. And you know, scientifically, whatever is brought as new, people will be apprehensive. People will be like, oh no, I think this is new. Anything new, and most especially scientific ideas. And if you do not practice those ideas, some other countries will practice it, and they will lead, and you will come from behind to say that you want to practice that idea. So by that time, those countries have gone far. So the earlier we embrace this technology, the better.
Okay, let me return to the Director General, NOTAP. Apart from these exhibitions, I know NTA also has a similar, platform for young inventors, young scientists, and the goal is to discover indigenous capacity for innovation, and technology. So, what do you do apart from providing a platform for them to exhibit? Do you just leave them? What do you do? Do you take up? Is there a policy direction, that drives these expos?
Well, thank you very much. I think when we see potentials, we don't only promote, but we try to protect the intellectual property of that innovation. The first stage of commercialization, that is translating research and development efforts into market. First of all, you have to protect the IP, because commercialization is a private sector affair. We don't expect an innovator or an inventor to commercialize his research and development efforts. So it is a private sector affair. So no any private sector would put his or her own money where the intellectual asset is not protected. We have seen a gap. So what NATAP does is, during the exhibitions, we go around with our staff to see inventions and innovations that have potentials to translate into product and services. We ask them, have you patented the technology? If they say no, we give them the forms. We assist them in filling the forms. We call them to the office. We write the claims. We take it to patent registry. We pay the patenting fee. We only call them to come and collect their patent certificates. That is the beginning of commercialization. So we also promote, like this particular microscope. I developed a very keen interest in it. I saw it working, and we had arranged a meeting within the next week with the promoters, with the inventors of this microscope, because it's something very cheap if you compare it to what is being imported into the country. And I said earlier, it is user-friendly, and you can use it in any part of this country, and the maintenance is not too costly. So we want to use it, promote it, introduce them to various state governments, introduce them to various schools, so that they will begin to get patronage. They also need to be introduced to source of funding, because maybe they may need to scale it up beyond this level they are. So what is expected is a very rich person must have to come and finance the scaling up. And nobody will come and finance the scaling up if the IP culture, if the IP, intellectual property of this invention is not protected. So we had also promised that if it is not protected, we'll help to protect it for them. So in the last...
Is it a promise you're making on this program?
No.
Is it a promise?
No, it's every year. So what happened was, when we came on board in 2015, because we saw a gap, that gap needs to be filled in. If the culture of IP protection is so low in the system, you may not see inventions and innovations translated into product and services, because it's a commercial activity. So now we embarked on a program which we call Assisting Inventors and Inventors to Protect Their IP. So in 2015, I think we were only able to assist 6. In 2016, the number, we assisted 16. In 2017, the number rose to 50. In 2018, the number rose to 55. In 2019, the number rose to 57. So now if you compare the number of patents that came through NOTAP, compared it to what is issued nationally, in 2019, the patents that came through NOTAP was 65% of the total certificate released by the patent registry. So you can see our impact.
Let me get the perspective of Obialunama. Obialunama, what's your relationship with NOTAP? And then share with us also some of the challenges you have, because obviously you need to add value in terms of finishing and the end product.
Yes, DG NOTAP has been very supportive, as well as other government agencies. They've all been very, very supportive.
Do you have the IP now?
It's something that is in the process. We've started already. It's in the process.
Okay.
Now, can you tell us more about this product in terms of the process of production? What went into this production? Because we need to know the capacity of those that put this together and the capabilities. Because the essence of the expo is for Nigerians to understand that we should begin to believe in ourselves, begin to believe that we have talents, we have gifted people, people who can put things together and get results. So, what did it take? Is it a family affair, or do you have some personnel, hired personnel who were able to? Because I know that this must have some chips. This must have some, of course, some chips, which of course I'm not sure is produced in Nigeria. But if it is, you let us know, because for you to come up with a sophisticated stuff like this, there must be some ingenuity, that we need to know about, with respect to what are the components of these products.
I thought, Kirian, I thought you would have asked her to do a demo if possible. Maybe we could just pass it on to her. We could just pass it on to her to do a little. Is it possible?
We need a phone or a computer.
You need a phone
Or a computer.
Yes.
Or a laptop.
Okay, maybe we'll just get that.
In the course of the program.
And take his question while we do that.
Okay, so no, it's not a family affair. Ville Square is made up of individuals. It's a multidisciplinary team. So we have engineers, we have biologists, we have design people, like it's a full team. Our engineering team is led by Obashengu Ayodele. He's a graduate of Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. They say they have the best engineering, school in Africa. And I agree with them, from this. But it's taken us about 2 years plus to get to this point. From, the whole idea and then to production. Like I mentioned, when we came to the expo in 2020, it was a proof of concept product that we came with. Between 2020, it was about this time, it was in March, until now. We've been able to iterate and improve because of all the feedback that we received, because also of the support that we received. We're happy to get funding. That is usually the main challenge for expansion. So at our facilities now, we are able to produce, at this level, we're also able to produce certain units a week. But we know that if we want to meet the needs, the demand needs across the country, that we need to expand and scale up. And that is something that requires a whole lot of investment, financial investment. It also requires human capital investment, in machines and all that, and in the people who will man the machines, and people who will iterate the product to get to the next level. And we are happy to work with government on this. We've gotten a lot of support so far in terms of human resources. We've gotten that support. But we're also happy to get more support in more liquid terms, in terms of cash.
That's nice. Okay, let me ask, and this is a general question, but I'll throw it at the Director General of Biotechnology. Now, the success of all the initiatives, the expos, the capacities we're able to, to discover, would always reflect, on the different sectors of the economy. It will reflect the success, in our modernization of our farms. It will reflect in the healthcare sector. It will reflect in the education, just like, the microscope that she's done, and all of that. So I am asking, how well have we been able to integrate all of this into our national development?
Well, you see, this is something that is called collective responsibility. The government will do its part, and the private sector will do its part. When they come together, this is government agency, and there are individual scientists. They come together for the expo. Then the promoters come in, those that will come and invest. When they invest, Nigeria is a very big market on its own. So that production and taking it to the market for people to use, instead of taking money outside the country to buy these items, you are now using, you are now spending within the country to get what you want, and then by that you are impacting on the economy. So in all these aspects, everybody will contribute, and then it will come directly into the market, and the market, everybody's hands is on that. And then apart from internally making generating revenue, you can also, we have neighboring countries. We can start with that, and I'm sure we are doing that because most of our products are going within the neighboring countries, and they are exported into some countries of developed nation. For example, I think the product of our farm produce, like that time where we exported yam despite some little challenges, but we continue to export that yam to earn the foreign exchange for the country. So that yam is as a result of technological development, and we have improved on what we have seen when we exported the first one. So that is how it is impacting on the economy. All those things translate into impacting to the general economy. You cannot say this is how 1, 2, 3 you itemize it. No, it's collectively impacting on
well, you don't improve on the yield if the method is still rustic or rudimentary.
No, yes, you can't improve in the yields. That is why you involve this research institute and the scientists. They go into investigation. What is wrong with this? Why is it not? Why is the yield not optimum? Why is the pest attacking it? Then you devise a means of repelling the pest. Why? All these things is scientifically investigated, and then when it is investigated, then it is brought out. That is the essence of the expo. When the people come in, you tell them the quality, then they will key in. And then that is if we have more and more people come in to understand what we are producing, then they will key in. I was yesterday I was at some stalls. I see people from other countries. I see people from UK, people from China, and they are interacting with our scientists. They are interacting with them to see how they can collaborate, how they can key in. Some of them are investors, and that is paying. The whole idea now is translating into something result-oriented. That is something fruitful that can develop the nation. So I think that is how it is.
All right, thank you. DG Notab, majority of the products that we see at the expo are at artisanal level, and they have come to the expo over time. No improvement, yet. Now, what is the problem there? What is the encumbrances there? Because we believe that with this expo, their talent and ingenuity have been exposed, and that by now we should be, looking at an advancement from what it used to be. If you, even some agencies of government, who have come up with some machinery, especially agricultural machinery, when they return next year, you see the same stuff. Finishing touches, is not really attractive, for people to begin to, key into, especially the investors. So what has been the problem? Is it finance? If it is finance, now that the vice president has said that, look, they have opened another avenue, to raise fund, for the research institutes in Nigeria. So how do we improve on what we have been displaying at the expo year after year?
Thank you very much. I think you touch a very fundamental issue. I agree with you, even though the content I had said earlier had significantly improved over the years, but we are still stagnated. For us to move, in my own opinion, we have to improve on the funding of research and development. This young lady that came out with this microscope, I think they probably used their family savings to come out with this. But where the government would provide enough funding for vibrant research and development activities in the country, you will see better products than what we have. Currently, our funding of research and development is 0.22% of our GDP, not even up to half. But I'm happy His Excellency, the Vice President of this country, has promised that very soon the funding would improve to 0.5% of our GDP. If that is done, that means there will be more fund for research and development activities. So if there is more fund in research and development activities, the vibrancy would improve and the quality of our research and development output will come up. But even if we do that, we have another challenge. The other challenge is we have to have a very strong policy that would encourage the utilization of what is produced in Nigeria. Like this microscope, if we now decide that all secondary schools should not import or should not use imported microscope, because when I saw it, it's comparable to what is imported and it's much cheaper. So we have a policy that all secondary schools must begin to use this type of microscope. Then you see investment coming into it. Then the ingenuity of the initial innovators would also improve. So if we now insist that whatever we need in this country, we have the capacity to produce them, and then we'll begin to detest foreign goods and services. Yes, if you have money, you can afford foreign services and goods, but let's make it a policy that, or let's make it a policy that if you have to use and imported this thing, you have to pay heavily. We put a heavy duty on imported goods and services that we have comparative advantage to produce in this country. So through this strong policy, and we adhere strictly to those policies, I'm confident we'll be able to move at a faster rate. Just take one clear example. 4 or 5 years ago, our rice importation was almost 90% into this country. But when the government came and now brought a policy that no, we have to close our border, we have to encourage our farmers to grow rice, now importation of rice is less than 10%. And even the 10%, I think, are just being smuggled. So we can revolutionize all these things. And as Nigerians, we also need to be patriotic. If we don't patronize what is made in Nigeria, there is no way the companies producing those things would grow. So if now, as a Nigerian, now we eat Nigerian rice, we don't even eat imported rice. So rice mills are springing up, and some of the companies that used to bring in rice into this country now have come into the country to establish rice milling machines. So you, Kirian, patronize what is made in Nigeria. I patronize what is made in Nigeria. Everybody patronizes what is made in Nigeria. Collectively, that is how we could move our nation forward.
You know, a lot of, I see a number of, if you surf the internet, I mean, you will see a number of young Nigerians, you know, that have come up with very innovative products, you know. Some even have come up with, you know, aircraft. I see one, you know, I think a young, you know, boy from Akwa Ibom State, I can't remember. You know, quite a number of them have come up. Do you just allow them to, you know, because after the expo, they just return back to their bases, and that's all there is. Do you also go inside, take a step further than the expo, you know, arena, and go in search of these young ones and find a way of, you know, I don't know, giving them the leverage they require?
You see, it all boils down to the funding. You understand? But we have what we call Presidential Standing Committee on Innovation and Invention in the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology. And most of those guys that exhibited are beneficiaries of these grants. So when we see any product that needs further improvement, then the government gives them grant. And when they come next year, you see some kind of improvement. But still, it boils down to patronage. You understand? So if any product is produced by Nigerians and it is working perfectly and comparable with what is imported, we have no business importing, we have no business using imported product. So the policy must be strong. And the policy, the implementers of the policy must have to be firm. Let me tell you an example. In NOTAF, when we realize that if we give 10 approvals today, at least 6 to 7 are on softwares, and we see the quantum amount of money that leaves this country as licensing fee, we had to sit down with the stakeholders. What can we do? We can't just fold our arms and allow business as usual. We sat down with stakeholders. We say, okay, let's come with a policy that any software that comes to our office, any agreement on software that comes to our office for registration, we must ensure that there must be a Nigerian IT company involved in the deployment of that software, in the maintenance of that software. The strategy is, if you involve intelligent Nigerians in the deployment, in the maintenance of that software, whether the original equipment manufacturers like it or not, good part of it will be captured by Nigerians. That is a strategy. So now, since licensing is just one-off payment, but there is another clause. After every year, you pay between 13 to 23% of the licensing fee as maintenance fee. we insist that if a Nigerian company, IT company is involved, 40% of that amount should be paid to the Nigerians. And we insisted, we had a lot of issues, but when we remain firm, now it is fully entrenched. After 7 years, we decided to evaluate the performance, sorry, that project. And we realized that a lot of capacities of Nigerians, young, talented Nigerians in terms of software applications and development have been developed. And the 40% they get, I'm telling you, they've been able to put infrastructures on ground, and they've been able to now, some of those local vendors, particularly Computer Warehouse Group, they have now started exporting software across West African region. That is a policy.
You know, I'm going to again return to Professor Mustafa. You know, sometimes it also depends on the response, you know, these young innovators get from government officials who you know, should provide them with the leverage, you know, platform. It would also appear that we express little faith, you know, in our own indigenous capacity, such that when they come, the kind of response they get, you know, put them away. I remember there was a time, I can't readily remember, I think it's a Nigerian Korean, I don't know if you recall, you know, who said she came here and she was turned down. I don't know if it was, you know, she had to go outside the country, you know, and where she was given a platform and she excelled. So how do we begin to do, you know, to address the response some of these young innovators get when they come to, for instance, maybe NOTAP or your agency, for instance?
Well, you see, this is something that need to be looked at squarely, because I understand that at times you may see that these people, when they are supported, the money that is given to them, they use part of it, not fully for that development. Some of them are like that. But many are very, very keen to seeing that after developing the first commodity, then they can move further to develop more and more, just like these microscope developers. So if at all, I think the agency NOTAP is part of their mandate to see that they collectively call these people and put them on the right track. The government, of course, must do the needful, and that is the agency's wise, that all these people, as he said, many of them are given grant to develop such kind of things. But if it has been developed, the key is who are going to be part of the promotion, development.
At what stage do you come in? At what stage of the production, you know, do they get intervention?
Yeah, this is at the stage where it has been confirmed that this is genuine. This is not a copy of what has been done elsewhere. If it is original invention, then definitely government put interest in that. But some of them, they will just go to the internet, which is not a bad idea. They copy what has been done in the internet and they come and showcase it. I think I remember sometime in Kano, I was at one market like that. Some people developed a helicopter and they were saying that the helicopter is their invention. When I went there personally to interview them. When I talked to them, how do you get this idea? They said they copy everything from the internet. They ask somebody who is residing in the UK to give them the dimension and what have you. Of course, they use local way to fabricate it, but if at all they can collaborate with the relevant institution to see how they can fine-tune that development and to see what they can add onto it, then fine. That is something that people will key into it. But doing something exactly that has been done, not adding value to it, that is it. So you see many of them that were wondering.
To be honest with you, when you say copy what has been done, for instance, there are not much that people will create by way of invention these days. We have a television set, for instance. It's been there. But if a Nigerian could come up and begin to manufacture television set, the same television set, made in Nigeria, then of course we'll stop buying the ones made from outside.
With local materials.
So the entire idea is in some countries like Asian tigers, what they do, they have a technology village. They have infrastructure for technology development. And when you come there, for instance, in Indonesia, they have over 43 research institutes in one place. And when the research is out from this particular infrastructure, the next step is to move to the other one, which is very close by, for actual interpretation of the research result. And you move on like that until you have the finished product. But what we think in Nigeria here, that we don't have a properly articulated methodology of having data of products coming from individuals. Like we can bring them together, harness whatever they have, whether copied or originated. Because one, we have to advance. For instance, Indonesia has aircraft manufacturing company owned by government. But of course, the private sector is keen into that. So when you come there, you discover that they are manufacturing different aircraft for different countries, both by government and of course, private sector is a kind of a joint effort. All right, so this is a part of what is lacking. And how can that be achieved? Because all this expo we're doing, fine and well. If you are able to move to the pavilion, you will appreciate that Nigerians are ingenious in terms of what they're able to achieve in all aspects of science and engineering. And we have seen that over time since this reception of this expo. But it ends there. That's what Claire is trying to say. It ends there. Nothing happened, apart from NOTAP, discovering a few of them that they could assist in trying to patent and, of course, look for expansion in terms of investors coming in to put more funds and all of that. Everything ends there. Next year, we'll return again at the same venue. And we'll see the same, and we'll see the same product. So those young men you're talking about that they're copied, but to even copy properly is an advancement. Yeah. To even copy what is an advancement. My first trip to China, they brought us to one market. They'll tell you, okay, this is complete Chinese, this is just our own make. This one was copied. Which one do you want to buy?
You see, I'm not saying that they are not doing something that is appreciable. But what I'm saying is that in any product there is what is called copyright. And this copyright, if you copy somebody's property, intellectual property, that's what we just discussed about now. If you copy somebody's intellectual property, then the person can sue you. And no matter where around the world, they can come up and they can come and investigate. We are talking about how to develop this thing into a technology. Except if you go and buy the franchise, then you can manufacture in the country. That one, some of the countries are doing that. But how well is this done? Is it there is a value added to it after copying? Did you add any value that is going to make your intellectual property? Nobody will say that you don't do this thing, copy something, copy somebody's work. But did you add value to it? If you add value, then it becomes your intellectual property. But if you don't add value, you don't expect people to come and invest in something that has been working elsewhere, and the company has its intellectual property protected. So that's what I'm saying. So if they can add value, and that is what I was saying, the NOTAP is there to discover these people. That's the mandate of the agency, and to bring them together and to see if there is any advancement in the technology they copy, then they can promote it. And secondly, the investors. The investors are there. They are watching. I've told you that I've seen some of the people that are interested in investing. They are coming. Last time I was in a flight with somebody that is an investor. When I told him what we were doing in biotechnology, he said, I thought this is something that will now solve the whole Nigerian problem economically. Because when you talk about agriculture, the country is moving 100% towards agriculture, and biotechnology is the answer. So he is interested in keying in to see how they can produce, how we can produce the seeds that can be given to farmers. He is interested, and he said he wants to key into it. And there are people, investors, that they say they want to key in how we can produce vaccine. vaccine for the development of the country. So this thing, if you innovate, you bring something, you domesticate the technology, you improve on it, then that is how the technology is going to sound that this is our own. But if you copy exactly, you didn't move anything, then, well, it is not bad.
No
value added to it.
And
That is it.
Talking about value addition, it's not just innovating in vacuum. Innovation must also address our needs.
Exactly.
So we must begin to also prioritize areas where technology and innovation should be applied.
Exactly.
And that's why I'm also going to bring in Mrs. Nobi. I know that this is being applied in schools. It's being used in schools. Between last year, or the first time you participated in this expo, and now, what are the value additions you have been able to bring to bear on this product? And what help did you get?
Okay. So I don't know if we can see the system now.
Yeah.
To show. Okay, but with this microscope, one of the things that it's able to do for teaching and learning science is that, for instance, and what I have on the screen now is a plant cell samples. Now, the teacher can use this. So after, for instance, elementary biology, he or she has talked about plant cells. He's taught the students about the cells, and they can now see it. Like actually see the plant cells. The teacher can now go forward to explain, okay, that this is the cell wall, this is the cytoplasm, and all that. And it's easier for them to understand and remember. You can send the children outside to pick leaves so that they know that this is not made up. The teacher can help them prepare it, make it into...
This is what we used to draw with pencils in those days, and it's so...
Exactly. And every time we have young people come into our space, or when we go for outreaches to schools, if they are really young, say secondary school level, we say, can someone tell us what a plant cell is? And they always, without fail, draw one cell. For some reason, they do not realize that, a plant is not made of one cell, because that's what they've seen in the textbook. So it's easier to show them this, and then they can basically take what they've learned in the classroom, the theory, and conceptualize it to practical issues. It's also possible, so at higher level now, where the teachers or the students are working on samples, it's possible to take pictures. So if you were a researcher and you had a sample, you could take a picture of this, which you now export to your PowerPoint or to your Word report, or it's possible to make a video which you can put on your presentations and things like that. So for us, those are some of the...
What are the gaps you're trying to bridge?
We want to democratize science learning, not just in Nigeria, but across the continent. I mean, the reason when we talked earlier about drawing cells with pencils is because a lot of schools cannot afford to have microscopes. And when the school is able to, a lot of times it is caged. It only comes out during accreditation. Sometimes you have 20 students all trying to look into one eyepiece. I mean, only one person can see it at the same time, So what we're trying to do is to make this affordable, accessible science equipment, and we're starting with a microscope across board. We want people to be able to make purchases as individuals, as schools. People who are well-to-do can purchase this for rural schools in their communities, government keys in, state, local government level, federal level. We want this to be accessible so that everyone who is interested in learning science can work with it. And it's not just for biology.
What's the production capacity? Because you're saying you could purchase, is it one per school? How many do you need per school? And how many can you produce?
At this point, we are able to produce close to 1,000 a week. But, I mean, there are millions of students in the country, yes.
So this is why you need NOTAP.
And what about the cost of each of them in terms of affordability?
It's less than about 70% cheaper, or even less than what you would get on the market for a microscope of this power.
What amount are we talking about here? Just let us know. I mean, let's have an idea. Yeah.
Okay, so there is a factory price, and the distributors will have a different price. So that's why I'm not very keen to. Yeah.
All right. The most important thing is that what I've demonstrated is a clear indication that the product you have is very unique and useful. And for NOTAP to give it a pass mark, it does show that you have something the Nigerians will look forward to. And as time goes on, you have to improve on it, and of course add value as well. We have all agreed here. Well, you're watching Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. We'll take a short break now. When we come back, the program continues.
A new edition of TV Guide is out with special focus on the game changer, His Excellency Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State. Broadcasting in a digital economy, Maxwell Logo gives an insight. This edition also features Nancy Naji of AIT, a name synonymous with business. Meet the NCDC boss, Dr. Chikwe Ihekweazu. TV Guide, your indispensable companion, also x-rays the relevance of social media in the modern society. Meet some TV professionals who have impacted their spaces and other inspiring stories in sports, entertainment, and lots more. Grab a copy at the vendor near you or NTA stations nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous, whether you do it for fun or for political gains. Real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless, it becomes harmful and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, reflect, and verify information before sharing it. Be a good social media user. Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source and use social media responsibly for a better Nigeria. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency.
Welcome back. If you've just joined in, you've missed a lot. It's been quite an interesting conversation we have with our guests right here in the studio. So let's also escalate our conversation to, of course, the viewer out there. We've got quite a number of tweets. Kieran, should I take off or you want to start?
Yeah, let's start with Festus Akimboewa. He's a regular. Government must invest in technology and provide platform for Nigerian investors to develop low-cost technology that can help Nigerians, especially those in the rural areas, to build a better life for themselves, so that the internet connectivity will be provided in those areas. Well, he was saying that it is sad that internet connectivity is still a huge problem in our country.
Okay, Dele Jack Solomon says, it's high time we started seeking to solve logistics of food production, food harvesting, food shortage, and food wastage in Nigeria through the application of technology known as agrotech. Also, we can use technology to learn how to get produce from the farm to the end consumer in the most efficient and effective manner.
All right, we have Mike Ayakwo. Technology is the engine room of any advanced development of any nation. The Science and Technology Ministry responsible for driving technology in Nigeria is very passive. They specialize only in organizing seminars for personal aggrandizements. Nigerian scientists are doing well all over the world, but they need support from government to achieve a lot in this aspect of human endeavor. But help is not coming forth. We forget Nigerian students making waves both within and outside Nigeria. They need support. Mike, of course, you are not completely right in this, because efforts have already been made to see how local scientists can be supported. Of course, we've watched the madam here, and what she has presented to us this morning. We have a retinue of them, at the expo that the government is being assisted, to see how we can get out of the woods. But you saying that organizing seminars for personal aggrandizements does not really follow, if you ask me.
All right, Taufik Olalikon says, Nigeria as a whole must look into the technological solution to agricultural development, especially, he says, in the area of mechanization and seed planting development, develop telecommunications economy, and area of robotic tech.
Suleiman Babagana, the economy of a country will be very encouraging if it's technology-driven and tends to simplify processes and the procedures, as the world is now a global village, which is technology. If technology is not part of our contributors to the economy, you will be left out among League of Nations.
Mutana Farouk, technology is a catalyst for sustainable development. However, it can also be a tool for destruction if it is not properly managed. The embrace of technology has brought tremendous development in all facets of human endeavors. Are we ready to key into it as a nation?
All right, and next is coming from Bello Mohammed. Nigeria is short in the use of technology. We launched our satellite many years back, and yet we are still battling with the insurgency, banditry, and kidnapping. Where is the missing link? Our discussants should be able to enlighten us.
All right. Now, Chris Simeon says, any country that is technologically advanced grows faster and development in every aspect is sustained. However, if a nation or country invests in technology, it becomes a pace-setter. It draws others to itself due to much influence it has.
And where technology is an important factor that can change substances into resources. It is ideas, knowledge, inventions, and discoveries that leads to the creation of more resources. For example, the discovery of fire led to the practice of cooking and other processes.
All right. I would like to thank all of you for your tweets. Yes, Kieran, I think he said most of what he said, has been mentioned by the other persons. So it's well that we have the institutions to drive technology and innovations. The universities are there. We have the research, institutions just like NOTAP and, of course, your own agency and all that. But the issue has always been, as we've all said here, funding. Now that there's been a 0.5, even though it doesn't still meet the AU recommended 1% of the GDP, but is this significant? And is it a renewed impetus for technology and innovation?
Yeah. Yes, it's significant as far as the African context is content is concerned. But what I would advocate is this 0.5% of the GDP for research and development funding. And when you have a prototype, when you have already a semi-product and you want to move it to the next level, we need an institutional framework. An institutional framework that would provide the funding to move those at the pilot level to the next level. And I must see this opportunity also to commend the efforts of the Executive Secretary of TED Fund, Professor Suleiman Bogoro, who is another passionate Nigerian, and he's trying to establish what we call Research and Innovation Foundation. If this Research and Innovation Foundation is established, it will now harvest some of those flagship projects and move them to the next level. Unless we have that institutional framework, our research and development efforts will remain at that level for a very long period of time. Yes, you can conduct research. 0.5% of our GDP would provide the necessary funding for researchers to undertake and demand-driven researches. But when the results are out, you need the private sector to come. Our culture here in the country, the private sectors are reluctant. And if you look at the industries, most of the industries are foreign-based, and their interest is to come to our country because our population is an advantage to them, sell their products, and repatriate their money back to their respective. So you don't expect them, really, you don't expect them that they must have to take up some of those R&D efforts of Nigerians. Yeah. So, but Nigerians, private sectors, are the people that are expected to move them to the next. I must commend Dangote on that respect. Because he's Nigerian, he's patriotic, and he has the funding. That is why he's impacting onto the economy. Look at, for instance, those multinationals have been in this country for over 40 years extracting our crude oil. They have never established refineries for them to refine the crude oil into products. And so long as we continue to import petroleum products into the system, then we have failed as a system. So, but this man now single-handedly, as a Nigerian company, is establishing a refinery. And when this is fully operational, it will meet not only the requirements of Nigerians in terms of petroleum product, but can even export. So now you can see the economic benefit of one investor into the country. So we need people like him. You understand? So, but for some of those R&D efforts to come to a level where an investor is enticed to come and spend, we need an institutional framework. And I think the TED Fund is trying to establish one.
All right, that would be a very significant development if that happens, because it's part of what is lacking in the country. You know, researchers are always complaining of lack of funds, paucity of funds, which has affected even their research work. And when these researches are out, the results will also remain in the laboratory, as no investor is readily available, you know, to take it up from there. And I want to ask Professor Abdullahi Mustafa to let us know, going forward, after the expo, going forward, and with all the efforts being made by government, how do we now be rest assured that in the next couple of years that Nigeria will pick up, you know, technologically in all aspects, not just in the you know, production of or rather in developing you know, research results, but in taking a leap further to see how the results already we have can be translated into practical reality?
I think this thing now goes into the level where I think there is need for investor summits versus Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, where all these results that we brought out from the laboratory to showcase during this exposition now will be translated into the language that they can understand. When they invest into these things, this is what they are going to get. You see, somebody who is going to invest his money, he needs to be rest assured that his money is secured. He needs to be rest assured that this thing is viable. He needs to be rest assured that there is going to be a market for the product that he's going to key into. So if there is a direct link where the investors will be meeting the scientists that have this kind of products when selected by the Federal Ministry of Industry, Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, to come up with itemized list of the finished product, just like this microscope. And we now, when there is this summit, you now sell the idea to them that when you invest in this, this is the market, this is what you are going to gain as a product, as a gain, as an investor. I think that is going to be the solution to my own understanding. So this meeting between the two institutions, investors and scientists, I think it will help into developing the country's scientific finding, and then move the economy forward.
Okay. Obialu Nama, I would like to ask you, what was the initial acceptability like, and are our education managers shown any interest in your product?
Yes, the acceptance. So when we started, the first thing we did was to do a science outreach. We did it around Abuja. So we went to schools in Karu. We went to schools in Apo, around the legislative quarters, and then we went to Buari. So we tried to do all the different socioeconomic demographics to see what it was that was needed, and to see how acceptable and useful this would be. So working with that, and this was secondary schools, by the way, working with that, we're able to get some feedback to see how easy was it to use, because we wanted the really young children. So they were about 13, 14 years old, to see if it was something that they could easily use. Did they need instructions? Was it intuitive enough? And we found out that it was. So the teachers were very accepting of it. And again, this was the proof of concept product, which we now took to the expo last year. And so far, it's been very, the feedback has been very positive. The acceptance has been very high.
Has the ministry itself shown interest? The Ministry of Education? Or are you doing this solo?
At this point, not at this point, the ministry has not, worked with us. Yes.
And again, are investors approaching you for mass production of this item?
We've had a few conversations
with investors.
Yes, but this is something that is still in the works.
Dr. Ibrahim, are you helping out?
Yeah. So actually, when I saw it, I was amazed and excited. And I started thinking, what can we do to assist these young Nigerians? First of all, we asked about protecting the IP, and we're in the process. And I have arranged a meeting next week with them so that NOTAP management will look at it together and now come out with strategy on how to assist them in promotion exercise. The idea is we would now use our platform to introduce them to various state governments. And we also seize opportunity when the commissioners of science and technology come for our meeting. We demonstrate, and that would now penetrate to various states in the federation.
Is this the only attempt you are doing this for? Are there many others that what we've seen there?
No, actually, we have had opportunities to introduce some of them to Bank of Industry. I could remember we've been able to compile about 45 of those flagship projects, and we had a meeting. We traveled to Lagos and had a meeting with Bank of Industry. We sat down, we analyzed some of those innovations, and we pruned them down to 6. And even though the Bank of Industry does not have a window for funding such kind of invention and innovations, but they are now trying to create something that they will be able, a window that should be able to assist. And one of the 6 that we have presented to them has started accessing funding from them. He's into like instant paint. He came out with a formulation, and instead of you to carry tons of gallons of paint from one part of the country to another, you take it in a sachet form. And the directions is there. If you put it in a certain quantity of water, a certain temperature, stir it, you have your paint. And now he has started accessing funding from Bank of Industry.
Some time ago, the minister was talking about Science and Technology Bank. Is that feasible?
For now, I'm afraid, in my own opinion, what we need, we either have risk fund, because you see, banks are established to make money. And banks don't seem to have a window, even the development banks don't seem to have window to move some kind of inventions to another level. Banks prefer something ready-made so that they will be able to make money. But where we have risk fund, the foundation the TED Fund is trying to establish are two excellent platforms where some of those innovations and invention could be escalated to a level that an investor will rush to come and take it.
Dr. Dan Azume Ibrahim, I'm afraid we will just have to stop at this point. I would like to appreciate you, Director General, National Office for Technology Acquisition and Promotion, NOTAP.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Director General, National Biotechnology Development Agency, Professor Abdullahi Mustafa, also a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you very much.
And co-founder, Chief Executive Officer, Ville Square of Bialonama Nobi. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's join our sports desk for some sports stories.
FIFA President Gianni Infantino has personally congratulated the President of Nigerian Football Federation, Mr. Amaju Melvin Pinnick, on the latter's brainstorming entry into the FIFA Council following elections held at the CAF Ordinary and Elective General Assembly in Rabat, Morocco on Friday. In the same vein, former FIFA presidential candidate and FIFA Senior Vice President Salman bin Ibrahim Al Khalifa, who is president of the Asian Football Federation, also congratulated the new FIFA Council member, saying he is confident that he will make valuable contributions for the further development of football in the continent and the world.